gosh.
Hello and welcome back to Untold Odysseys, Curse of Dread backstory campaign for Mr. Tanari over here. Oh, sorry. I'm pretty sure it's Mrs. Tanari. Is that
Mrs.
right?
Tanari.
Mrs.
Told
Tanari. Sorry.
Mm.
We have the so we have Animus playing Tanari, our permanent player character for his backstory. We also have multiple guest stars for the night, which is fantastic, and I'm super excited. We have... I always say chaotic writer, but is chaotician writer?
Chaotican.
Okay. Chaotic writer. All right, so chaotic in... I'm never going to say that right. I'm just going to call you chaotic.
You just call me writer.
I could call you writer.
Writer one way or the other. Yeah.
Writer it is. I do like writer. All right, so we have Ryder playing his own guest stars as we are rolling everything into Project Aurora. I have asked the Project Aurora DM himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Ryder. We are starting in his area of Siglasia. So as such, I have asked him to help me out and play some NPCs for that particular place.
I'm ready to go. I have them all written up, and it's time to play them.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this. I just want you guys to know. On a side note, we have... not a side note. We do have Animus. Animus is going to be our permanent player character.
Our protagonist.
Our protagonist.
I'm gonna die.
Has absolutely no idea what he's in for. But he will soon, and it's going to be fantastic. We have his counterpart, Pete, joining us, also from Project Aurora.
Hello.
You will find out more about his character shortly, Tanari, because, you guys are bound at the hip, as it were. And then we have the lovely Sammy returning as well.
Hello.
Not that anybody knows what Sammy's here for, but we'll find out. Who
knows? Maybe it's more yelling. Who knows?
I thought it was a live audience.
I am the live audience. I'm a lot of different things, actually.
We do actually have the live audience. All right. So, with that, I never know what to say, and it's always just kind of random and off the wall. But before we actually get started, that way you don't have to stick around if you don't want to, Mr. Ryder. Can you give me a little bit more information on Tales of Siglasia? Give the audience a little bit what you got there.
Sure. Tales of Siglasia is one of the campaigns that's part of the Aurora verse, which is in the same sphere that this story is about to take place in. And Tales of Siglasia is a campaign encompassing a heroic troop known as the Righteous Sacrifice and their exploits, specifically within the city of Siglasia, as they begin to uncover a deep and dark evil that is rising within the city. And they find themselves right now within the Arcanist Inquisition headquarters, getting to the bottom of the origins of this dark evil.
Very well. Sounds incredible. It does, in fact, actually. I am able to catch every now and then. Now that I'm no longer playing games on Thursdays, I will be able to catch a little bit more, it seems. So I'm excited about that.
It's been fun to run, and it's been fun to show off to the Project Aurora and streaming community. There are all sorts of fantastic surprises that happen in the campaign, and it will continue to be that way, and will accelerate as we enter into the next arc. So,
very excited, very excited. Animus, I'm not going to cut you out because I know you're Project Aurora DM. So, cutting away from Ryder for just a second. Why don't you give me some information on what's going on over in your world right now?
Hi, similar to these two guys, I am also a DM of Project Aurora, where I run the campaign called The Risk Embrace, where I too had to subject my players to facing older evils.
All right.
Sometimes the less you know, the better. But for the most part, my players are at the moment in the astral plane, cleaning up a bit of a mess from this cult. Probably heard of it called Mother Murray, whatever the mother is. They just gotta, just bring in a bunch of people to just transform your flesh into like monstrous aberration beings in the middle of Orofia, which is right next to Scalazia, a subject city of Scalazia.
Yeah, we're all three of us are just gonna get together and be like, all before Sensei comes in and just bombs it with I don't know, a corruption bomb in the middle of the world. Never mind. No spoilers
Wouldn't be the
today.
first one.
Yeah, it would not be the first one. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm new at this. I don't know how much he screws with your all plans. All right, but I'm gonna very quickly learn. I think. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and start your backstory. How do you feel about that, Mrs. Tanari?
We'll see.
We'll see. All right. So, we actually start in a the one thing that I was trying not to do in this campaign. We actually go ahead and start at an inn in a tavern.
Classic.
All right.
You can't dock the classics. Sometimes you just have to
Sometimes
roll with them.
you can't just dock the classics. That
Don't
is
never
that is 100%
don't fight it. Just go
certainty.
with it.
I don't disagree with you by any means. We actually start with Tanari, Tom, and Kenny all standing around their inn, which happens to be completely desolate right now, which is a bit odd for the Ivory Cushion. The Ivory Cushion is normally bustling, and Kenny is very well known for his skills as an innkeeper. Now, if we can, Tanari, can you please give us a character description of what we actually see here?
At the tavern stool, you'll see a dark skin with dark auburn hair, a female human who has more of a somber, gaunt, but not in an unhealthy way, face. Decent curves and decent stature. She seems to carry herself with some sort of renown for her accolades, no matter how minor they be. And also, and I guess at the moment, simple linen cloth with trousers as much, and I believe holding a tankard, just simple, filled with simple ale.
Very well. She will be joined by her right hand man, Tom. Pete, if you would please introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Pete, and I will be playing a man who will most assuredly survive. uh, I am playing Tom Marv. He is a paladin of death of Erebos, and uh, sitting here, he is a man of somewhat larger stature. Um, he looks more like a blunt tool, uh, covered in black cloth more than any person. He is a half orc underneath his hood, slightly light grayish skin, and tusks that have been filed down to an extent, enough that he can blend into most scenarios uh, to evade any kind of oppression or different happenstance that people may have. You make less of an impression when you look like a human. That aside, he has a very utilitarian sword. There is no flashiness to his apparel, though he is reading from a book that is quite more decorated with icons of death uh, and rebirth, and seems to simply be taking in the attention of the book, never minding any of the uh, attractions of the locale or the people around him. Though he does occasionally look to Tanari, seeing if there's anything up with her, and when there isn't, goes back and focuses to the book.
Very well done. And finally, we have Kenny Macnock, the half-brother, or step-brother, as it were, to Tanari. Kenny is a very handsome half-orc, as it were. Very well known for his skills as an innkeeper here in the Ivory Cushion. He got something need mending. He's taken it upon himself to learn a bit of magic to be able to take care of that right away for you, so that you don't even have to worry about it. The people in the room right next door to you being a little annoying, right? A little too loud. Let's go ahead and just cast silence on that door so that you don't have to hear anything coming out of there anymore. You want to be you want to be a little rowdy and before, and you want to have your own place to be able to do that and not be able to disturb anywhere else. Well, he's got magic for that too, it seems. So he's very well known for his specific magical abilities as an innkeeper, and they come in very, very handily as an innkeeper should. However, at this particular time, while just kind of standing and talking to both Tanari and Tom here, he's a little irritated. He's specifically looking over at Tanari and griping at you right now, Tanari. You know, one day you're going to have to actually pay me back for all the lost service every time your church comes in. They always tell me to clear out the entirety of my inn. Do you know how much money I lose here? Do you know how much money it takes to run this inn?
Penny, I know. It's a bother to the business. But we do have these secrets. Most of the churches would like to gossip or ponder what other followers of the other gods might have, but those of Erebos, they like to keep their secrets very close.
Yes,
For that I'm sorry, Kenny.
Yes, well. If my sister didn't want to do more for the church, as he makes a few hand gestures that you would recognize very quick as a sign of respect for his sister. If she didn't ask for us to do more for the church, it may have been a bigger problem, but seeing as that was her will, I'll abide by it. Seeing as you own half of this inn, there's not much I can do about it anyhow. As he kind of gives you the sly grin.
Tanari kind of mostly staring down at her tanker, just gives a sly chuckle. Only your name, Kenny. Only your name.
Now, Kenny's gonna kind of back up a little bit and just give a look over at Tom. He's gonna kind of smile a little bit. Now, is there anything I can do for you, sweetie?
Tom does take out what looks like a hand roll, a very, like, since this is like, you know, middle-age level, a very round rolled up cigarette, and puts it into the mouth, and using the bar itself to light a match, lights up the hooded cowl that he has, and you see the full face of him. And as he takes out, after a small puff of smoke, "Oh, could I have some rum if you have it?"
No, of course I have it. Why? You think an innkeeper wouldn't have his rum?
You'd be surprised. And yeah, you can leave the bottle on the bar itself.
He's gonna take out a bottle now. Tanari, give me an insight check for your first roll for Curse of Dread.
Let's go.
It is time.
22.
22, very, very quick. You notice that Kenny's being extremely nice, which you know to be somewhat of a facade for his customers. It's a little weird that he's doing that for your right hand paladin. Now he reaches down and grabs a hold of a bottle, sets it on top, grabs two glasses, and proceeds to go ahead and begin to cast a spell. Very specifically, you see the bottle start to frost up, as it were. He's making sure that Tom is going to enjoy himself, whatever it is. Gives a little bit of a grin and starts to walk away.
So he chilled the rum?
Yes.
And again, do you actually chill rum, or do you keep it out in the open?
So
I don't
I
know.
100% had Dominican rum that was chilled, and it was the best
Okay,
rum I've
okay.
ever had in my entire life. Just
Okay,
out
I'm
of
just asking-
game, like yes, yes you do.
I'm just asking because I never had chilled rum. My shit was usually room temp and chased.
You okay? Sure. There are different kinds, but the best
Yeah.
rum that I've ever had was Dominican, and it was 100% like chilled, and it was fantastic.
Okay,
Is the
okay.
rum.
So I'm just hoping that Kenny wasn't like pulling a fast one on Tom for some reason, just because there's no business going on. So
Man.
I just kind of I just kind of still mulling
Tom,
over the this stuff. Oh, go ahead.
no, you're good.
Okay, yeah, still kind of mulling over the tanker, taking small sips. Uh,
Very well. Kenny
Not
will
really.
Kenny will start to kind of walk away for a little while, leaving you guys a little bit of time to have a couple of discussions. Now, you've been instructed by the church to remain here, and very specifically told that no one should be around for a chance meeting. You haven't been told specifically what that entails or who you were supposed to meet. You've just been told to stay here, wait, make sure no one else is around.
Just for complete, like 100% understanding, Kenny is Taz's brother, or
So, it's up to Animus. Animus, you wanna tell him what that is? You want me to tell him?
Kenny is Taz's full brother,
like biological brother?
biological.
Okay. Taking the rum off of the bar and giving a hearty slug, he puts it down, and it's chilled. It's nice. He puts it down, but looking at Tanari. I'll be honest, I don't fully understand why you hang out with him still. There's something about him that gives me the creeps, and I'll never get it. I know he means a lot to you, but you never fully explain why.
Bit of a long story. He has his ways.
A lot of people have their ways in Sagazia. A lot of people. Whatever he does for you, there's someone else that's a bit better to talk to. It isn't quite as much of a bad vibe.
At our rocky start at the beginning. I think you've seen that before. It wasn't too forthcoming with me in the beginnings. But we grew on each other. Starts to looks at me as more as younger, weaker little sister.
You take note, Tanari. You're not weak. If you were, you'd be dead already. You're not.
That doesn't have his grasp, but yes. You better go swimming.
About
They're
that.
willing indeed. Oh, God.
No, I was gonna say about that time. I need a perception check from either one of you, please.
Maybe both, or
Yes, from both of you. Yep.
both, okay.
Yep. Tom, your senses have been a little dulled. It seems that that rum that was given to you may have been a bit stronger than you had imagined. Now, Tanari, you on the other hand, even with your back turned and speaking to Tom, you hear a few footsteps start to approach and a few voices. One standing out in particular, demanding his counterpart. Vermeera, stand here. No one goes in after me. We have to make sure that no one else is here. And about that time, you're going to see a man named Zirios Rothart. You know this man very specifically to work for the church. He's actually fairly high up for the Church of Erebos. If you wanted something done and you wanted to ensure that there were not going to be any problems, this is the man that would get sent. He has no time for anyone's bullshit. He walks in very quickly. Do you do or say anything as he walks in?
I immediately get off the stool and kind of take a few steps towards Zarius. It's good to see you, Zarius. I can show you that the tavern is completely without any other persons besides myself, Tom, and the innkeeper.
Yes. If you don't mind, I'll be taking a look around myself. Not that I don't trust you or anything, but we've had incidents before. Maybe not here, but got to make sure everything's in order.
Yes, but by all means.
You're going to kind of see his eyes begin to change colors. They shift, they start to go white, and then you see almost a black speck as it starts to widen out. Now, neither of you two would know exactly what this is, but if you would like, you can roll an Arcana check if you would like to figure that out.
I'll let this one go.
I'm curious, but I'm not sure he's going to get much.
Unfortunately, you can feel a significant amount of power kind of waft over you, emanating from Zarius. However, you're unable to tell exactly what it is that he's doing. And then all of a sudden, it's gone. All right. He's going to kind of look back over at you. Seems that there is no one actually here. Now, before we call in our guests, I need to make sure that you understand. Be proper, be polite. Don't ask too many questions if you're not told very specifically, but get the information that you need to do your job. Do you understand?
Nari gives a solemn bow as if going through procedures.
As you can kind of tell, Zarius is kind of a no-nonsense individual. But he will actually turn over to you, Tom. He's gotten the go-ahead from Tanari. He's staring you down right now.
Consider whatever you need finished.
Very well. Tanari, I trust that your brother understands that he needs not take part in anything we talk about here, and should not. Yes?
He knows the discretion of the utmost care.
Very well, then. And with that, he's going to turn around. Vermeera! Bring them in. It's safe. And you're going to see Vermeera walk in. Now, I never really described Zarius, but He embodies the Church of Ouroboros a little bit too much. Full-plated paladin, skulls on his uniform. Very, very nice quality. Now, roll me a history check for either one of you to find out how much you would actually know about Vermeera.
My dice are hot. I'm gonna my roll's gonna be shit later on.
With that, you would actually know the Church of Ouroboros, for its specific teams, likes to keep the paladin cleric duos. They seem to work fairly well together, being members of the church, keeping that religion sacred. The cleric being able to do anything that the paladin cannot, and the paladin being able to protect the cleric whenever needed. It's kind of, for lack of a better term, why Tom was very... Well, there may have been other reasons why Tom is with you, but the church has no problem with you two keeping close proximity to one another. Vermeera is Zarius's cleric. She comes in, and much like Zarius, has taken the Church of Erebos' items to heart. She wears a long cowl on the top of her head, and on each one of her shoulders is a black skull that seems to glisten as she walks in. She quickly walks in, steps out of the way, and with that, I would ask Mr. Ryder to introduce your group.
You will see 4 individuals flanking on either side of a 5th. The 4 individuals are all wearing very particular outfits, of which is a full set of armor from head to toe, however, with maroon colored sashes and cloth adorning that armor. They are wearing very particularly designed helmets, of which only reveal pretty much the eyes to you. That's truly the only part of their actual physical appearance that you could see. The individual in the middle is a dwarf, somebody who has a bit of a grin, a sneer on their face, just perpetually a part of their features. They have a very bushy mustache, a even more bushy of a beard, the color of charcoal, and they end up walking in, hand on either part of their suspenders, as you notice that they are wearing a sort of a peach colored loose fitting shirt with a that is a button up, and they are wearing suspenders over dark colored slacks, and they step very very forthcoming, but in sort of a casual swagger. And as they approach the door, they will take a look about into the room. Each of the individuals beside them stepping in formation. Each one of them actually having to come in one by one because of walls.
Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Damn you, walls!
Damn you, walls!
The first 2 step in. The other 2 step behind. And this individual steps forth, and he takes his hands from where he's grasping either one of the suspenders, and he opens up his hands and he says, "Ah, this must be the place of meat. And you," pointing very specifically to Tanari, "you must be the one that has been signed by the Church of Erebos to speak. Ah, hmm, you may do. But before I get ahead of myself, my name is Dmitri Dragoza. It is a pleasure to meet all of you."
Tanari gives a bow, and uh, as you've known, my name is Tanari Sonev. Welcome to the Ivory Cushion. I hope we can make you comfortable for whatever, how long your stay will be.
Ah, yes, ivory cushion. Although I look around and do not see evidence of any cushion, it seems like it is a place of much hardwood. Not a lot of frill, as it were. But I do love the sentiment. Please, where is the closest location where we may sit and meet?
And Tanari will pass the hand over to the long table.
He is going to gesture towards each of the guards, and they are going to begin stepping sort of in formation on his side of the table as he steps forward and begins to sit, having two guards on either side of him, and he slides into his spot. And he looks about and he says, "What is the drink, the signature drink of the silver cushion?"
We tend to all taste here, but I would say honey meat is really well soothing.
Soothing honey mead. I haven't had much honey mead. I am one who really truly likes fruity beverages. But, honey sweet. I'll partake in some.
Of course, and Tanari will go to the bar and prepare tankard of honey mead for him.
As this kind of
Vashti will come back.
As this kind of goes on, Zarius is kind of standing off to the side a little bit. You can all tell that he's kind of watching like a hawk, but it's not the patron that he's looking at. He's very specifically watching Tanari and Tom, seeing how they move, how they interact. He's trying his hardest to stay out of it, but you can kind of see he's a little on edge. He's not so worried about the patron. He's worried about the other two. Now he turns and looks over at Vermeera here. Vermeera, guard the door. No one comes in or out unless we deem it so. You understand? Vermeera, without saying a single word, proceeds to just stand in front of the door, almost at a type of parade arrest.
In the meantime, while she's doing that, I will gently place the tankard next to. I'm sorry, what was the name again?
The Dmitri Dragoza.
Dimitri.
Either in character or out of character.
Of course, Tanari remembered. And as he places it down, it'll wait for him to take the first sip.
He's going to sort of look between his guards for just a moment, and then he is going to take a look. We'll pick it up. He'll give a smell to what's in the tankard, and then he'll look over to you, Tanari, raise his eyebrows and sort of nod, and begin to gulp down half the tankard. And he will set the tankard down with a thunk right on top of the table, and he'll take an arm and he'll wipe away the remains of the foam off of his lips, and he'll say, "Ha ha ha ha! It's delicious. Oh, I feel at home already.
Hence the cushion.
Oh, I see. Very clever. Well, I am here as a devout patron of the Church of Erebos. I am a wizard of sorts when you truly break it down. Wizard of the school of accountancy. There are, as my father would say, there's only two truths in life: death and taxes. It's a good thing I have a foot in each, huh?
Small chuckle.
You hear Tom for like, because Tom has made literally no noise this entire time. He gives like a little giggle, a little chuckle.
Ah, I am full of jokes. I try to take my profession as loosely or seriously, but as light-hearted as possible, knowing the forces of both things. Now, I have been brought here on behalf of, well, I represent a number of interested individuals who have an investment in the Church of Erebos. And their investment extends in quite a bit of monetary assets. I have a list that I may be so willing to go through if you are curious. But for the most part, they are individuals of a very special interest group, as it were, that wish to hire an individual who is a member of the Church of Erebos, somebody who is capable, somebody who is able-bodied, somebody who is of an inquisitive nature. I have been led to believe that you, Tanari, I believe your name that has been provided, that you have such values. That is to say, you have such characteristics. Value is, well, that is a relative idea from in the world of money.
I have been told I have these characteristics. I will humbly accept these. I would really like to know, in what regard would you be in need of my services?
Ah, well, this special interest group, as it were, they have some. When I say special interest, their interests are many. They have quite an extensive network of confidants, quite an extensive network of, one would say, informants, and they are taking very particular interest in certain happenstance that is occurring to the east of Siglasia. That is to say, farther east than simply Autumn Rock or the forests beyond. You are familiar with Troit, no doubt.
If the name, I haven't traveled to church in my own time. I've been to my services to the church and to the waiter hand around to the establishment.
Ah, well, being a business owner, one does typically ground themselves. I do see that. But of course, Troit, this time of year is particularly dreary, I hear. Some can really go for it. Brisk air, coloring of the leaves, stone sky above. I myself prefer hot, toasty climates with plenty of sunshine, a fruity drink in my hand, and a nice beach, huh? But as it turns out, there's a bit of a abnormal occurrence happening, I would say, just to the north of Detroit. I don't know if you've had any news come by your front door as to anything abnormal happening in the eastern portion of Leonios.
I would always keep my ears to the customers for their needs, but as far as the exact details to the news from the east, I haven't heard too much besides minor disturbances. Is something occurring?
Mm, indeed. Uh, Many different things are occurring all over this grand continent of ours. But for the most part, while it would seem insignificant at first, there has been a particular occurrence of what I would refer to as a weather event. uh, One that has sort of begun to settle. But before I go into further details about that, I should take a quick review, if you do not mind, as a wizard of accountancy. I need to ensure that there's, of course, a representative of the Church of Erebos. I do believe you have such a member amongst you, right to the left of me.
Yes, and kind of just have to stay back to make sure. I believe Zarius is in view.
Zarius is definitely in view. He's sitting there quite stoically, as it were. He will take a couple steps forward up to where you were.
Now, I have a bit of an inventory to go through. I just need to. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that I got done before leaving today was to ensure that this list of assets have been correctly acquired by the Church of Erebos from this special interest group, no doubt. Uh, Things such as a box of turquoise animal figurines, gold bird cage with electrum. Well, that was quite interesting to obtain. A large, very well made tapestry of particular runic, particular runic details. Silk robe with gold embroidery. Are you writing this down?
Yes, I am. I'll try to take a small note.
Mm.
So that first one was a box of turquoise figurines.
Oh, that is correct. Followed by gold bird cage. Then I do believe that was the silk robe with gold embroidery. Let's see, carved ivory statuette. I'm going to make a roll for something. I'm going to make it a private roll, if you do not mind. Okay. And actually, kind of more. Okay. What are your natural like perception and insight and things of that nature?
Tanari is a very insightful person, always really taking to mind people's mannerisms and I guess state and perception fairly well. Not trained, but more so she's instinctively able to keep an eye on things.
Okay. What is that in the form of a number?
And a number that passive perception though is a 14, and that insight is a 16.
Okay, understood. So, your passive insight would it would start a little earlier in this conversation. The thing is that this individual, as he's sitting down and speaking with you, you sort of notice that. That is to say, with a passive, you get a hint that they are coming into this place and into this conversation with a little bit of a sense of performance. Something a little bit more superficial than you probably would have suspected. But it comes to a head when you notice that this individual is reading through an inventory of goods. And you get a glimpse of the sense of, wait, why am I writing this down? Is this person toying with me?
So without really breaking the stride in writing, Tanari's going to keep writing down all the stuff that Dimitri has listed,
Mm-hmm.
more so showing off that she is more tentative to the things that are being said,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of making one second. Um, come on. She's gonna make a few small notes, kind of like at the bottom of her parchment in a language that hasn't really been spoken.
Mm-hmm.
If I believe if Zarius is still keeping the eyes of a hawk on me, he'll notice that these writings are sort of like not alien, but more so wavy and almost like a Sylvan-esque language.
Understood.
I will say that he will notice. I will say, actually, for all three of you, give me a perception check.
I'm noticing nothing today.
I'm in the notes. I'm in the notes.
Dimitri, you give me a perception check as well, my friend. I'm gonna flip the script just a little bit.
They're turning on each other. Get them!
No, just a little bit. I don't know if you actually rolled or not. It didn't pop up.
Yeah, it didn't pop up for me.
No, I'm saying give me a perception check there, Ryder. You can did.
Oh, you want me to give a
Yes,
perception
please.
check? I see.
You can just roll a d20 for that because I didn't change the name. Or you can do it in private. We'll do that before they capture that name.
What?
It's fairly low. So I will say, Dimitri, you notice the slight smirk, right? It's there for a second and then it's gone from Zarius. Definitely hit. Whatever it seems, whatever is Tanari is writing, Zarius has caught on and very quick smirk.
Let's see here. Gold, large gold bracelet, not a normal size gold bracelet. I've seen normal sizes. This is quite large. Carved ivory. Oh, I already said that one. Large, well-made tapestry that has the symbol of a bird on it, sort of a crow. Let's see here. We have about 16, one payment of about 1,600 gold pieces, another payment of 2,400 gold pieces, and he's going to about reach the end of his list. And he is going to look between everybody and be like, did you get all of that?
Yes, one box of turquoise figurines with the election bird, the tapestry with the golden building, and another with the crow, the ivory statue as a large gold bracelet, one that might suit your taste as such, two payments of 1,600 gold, and another with 240 pieces of gold. Am I missing anything, sir?
I do not believe you are missing a single thing.
I'm
Well,
pleased.
As
Attention to detail. I love it.
as this conversation kind of goes on, Zarius is going to say, and that last bit, as he kind of reaches over Tanari and like points at the scribbling, I believe that detail was not missed either.
No, it was personal notes for getting the finer details of my patrons.
Is this something you say out loud, by the way?
Yes.
Fine details, indeed. Well, now that we have that business out of the way, an abnormal weather event has settled just north of Detroit. One would classify it as an atmospheric downdraft with abundant moisture buildup in gaseous form, settled upon the landscape in an eerily persistent nature which refuses to disperse, to be affected by the trade winds from the Sea of Toonville. In short, mist. Now, as you can tell from my rambling, that this mist has been quite stubborn as to not dissipate, and usually it's not. This is some sort of sign of something unnatural taking place in the particular area where it is occurring. The group that I represent are looking for a scholarly expedition. Someone who can take with them themselves their own means of study and protection. It is still the wilderness, so protection is just one of those things that comes with the terrain. But I would say that it requires somebody with a very astute eye, somebody with an attention to detail like you have displayed for me just now. For one to enter into the mists and uncover the source of them, to verify that it is something more than simply natural.
Understood.
Understood, you say. Have you any questions for me before I wrap up this conversation with you?
If I may incline, I am curious more so the length of persistence that this mist has had. You said it has been lingering for some time. Is that time been more so a fortnight or a coming of months?
Well, it's closer to a fortnight, truly. Now, it might not seem like it is something that is all critical, but that is why we are seeking a confidant from the Church of Erebos, one of our main spaces of donation, to personally investigate. And once they have investigated, to return with a report, scouting report of the terrain, of the condition of this weather event, and any possibility of an unnatural presence.
Yes. Also, in what way does my standing with the church bring additional aid to this matter? I not much of the scouting type. If But if Erebos's will is so to be sought here, does this have to do with the undeath?
Oh, well. You are curious as to why the ones that I represent would reach out to the Church of Erebos in particular. Well, it makes sense. Therefore, you are of a clerical sort. That the Church of Erebos is one that has very specific concerns about the undead. I will not lie to you. There is a suspicion of unnatural occurrence that might resemble something of an undead nature from initial survey of the area. And it is of very specific importance to the group that I represent that such a thing be sussed out.
Hey, Ryder.
Yep.
As you're talking, I'm gonna have him roll an insight check.
I would say enough time has passed for sure.
I was gonna let you tell him to do that, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna jump in and have him do that.
Hot.
Hot and neutral.
He
So-
is paid to stand there and look scary.
I would argue that with a 24, a lot of things dawn upon you about this discussion that you're having with this individual. First and foremost, this individual who has referred to themselves as Dmitry, that is to say, Dmitry Dragoza, Wizard of Accountancy. Well, it would only make sense if they were a Wizard of Accountancy, if they were representing a group. That makes sense enough. Special interest group. Well, that seems a little vague. This individual seems to have been enjoying this conversation a little bit too much by the way that they are holding themselves. They're a little bit too performative. As a matter of fact, they are withholding a lot of information that they very distinctly know. It's not just them. You notice a little bit of a flicker in his eyes. And it happens every so often. But he glances very quickly towards one of his guards. And in particular, it's the guard furthest to the south. Now, you've performed an insight on this individual. I would say that that will afford you a perception check.
Oh,
Arena Monamito.
All right, I'd say that's enough. The guards are all in uniform, and they are uniform. However, they don't all have the same demeanor. 3 of them have a very martial demeanor. They are standing up straight. They are at attention completely. They are facing forward, keeping complete awareness of the room. You get the very distinct sense that they are very, very skilled combatants. The 4th, well, you get a little bit of that, but there's a little bit of there's a little bit of a casual arrogance. And that individual you can see in their eyes, they also seem to be a little bit amused by how far this individual has gotten in the conversation. They seem to be looking at you and studying you like a hawk. They are as if they are continuously trying to incite you throughout the entire conversation. And you notice one thing that is in particular different between all of the other guards. This one actually has a ring with a particular symbol upon it. To give you a third roll a knowledge check for me.
That's just straight history.
I would say a history check, yes.
Would I, at this point, notice that Tanari's noticing something herself? Knowing her for years and years, I would look at her and be like, she's getting a vibe off of this, isn't she?
For
I
how
would
long?
argue you could exchange that sort of, you can like
Yeah, I
exchange
would.
that nonverbal communication between yourself.
I would think like for as long as we know each other, you probably notice that I have at least like a very minor tail, a minor tell to when I have my eyes not set on the person in front of me, but someone in my periphery.
Hmm. I'll wait for the result of the history check before I do something.
Okay. Well, the thing is that that is a pretty low history check. You're not able to tell all that much about the ring. Your eyes are such that you can kind of determine a little bit about about the symbol. Um, you get the sense that that ring signifies not just some random organization, but it has the make of a ring signifying a noble house of some sort. Now, why this individual will be wearing a ring to a noble house, a guard, well, that's a little interesting. But it's beginning to seem less and less with your 24 insight that the individual that you have been speaking with, oh, it seems less and less like they're really the one in charge.
Looking at my friend, kind of, she's I walk over, making it, since numerous times Tom has made the effort to stay by Tanari's side and keep that bodyguard visage up. Also, for some reason, Tom is level 0, which is kind of funny. Probably isn't going to matter, but
It's a bit
just
level.
that loops all the way back to 20. And he makes the attempt of a stoic look, but he gives a small, sly look to Tanari, and we, we're good.
All as well. Um, just like to attend to our guests. Yeah, and I will make my own role here. Is I will make a performance check.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Sonari says that. Well, really, giving the perception of looking towards Demetrius here. Uh, Tom, you notice that, or I guess a lot of people here, if they're all training their eyes on me, I kind of do give like the glance to both the ring and towards the guard, that specific guard here. A little all too much.
Hmm. Now, this is something for a UDM.
Mm.
Does using divine sense, does that use a verbal or a component, or is it just like a kind of radar sent out that I just
It's more a
silently?
radar sense out from how I play it. So it's just kind of a an internal kind of.
Okay. With that, looking around, I'm going to.
I did just try to fix your thing as well, so I don't know what's going on with it.
Yeah, it's still level 0. That's fine. It's I think I have 3.
Honestly, it may be because we didn't put Tom in the campaign, which is why it won't import correctly. If I had to guess, so I apologize for that.
I will never forgive you for this. I am.
He's without his power.
I'm so mad. Let me just see actually if my it probably will just to make absolutely sure, but yeah, no, this is a very small space. I'm going to cast Divine Sense and sort of just clutch at the holy amulet that I have of Erebos, just a little tighter than I usually do, and see what I get.
I will let you make that decision, Ryder, as these are your NPCs.
Absolutely. Well, you do get a sense. It is directly in front of you. Now, the individual that has been talking this entire time, well, they seem vacant of anything of a divine sense. The 3 other guards, they seem particularly they seem of a somewhat desecrated nature, but they don't resonate as any particular being. However, the one guard with the signet ring, you get strong undead.
Don't like that one, but
Oh, lucky.
that I look to the 4 guards and I look to Dimitri, and for the first time I think since this entire conversation has started, Tom does raise his voice. Could I be so rude as to have a minute to talk to my cleric friend?
Oh, well, if you want to have a conversation between yourselves, planning for the expedition that is to come, then I will sit here and enjoy this delicious honey mead.
No worries. You know the rum here is quite delicious as well. And Tom slightly drags Tanari to the side for just a second. Taking her by the shoulder. The one you're looking at, he's undead. Something very bad's going on.
Also, one of those royal houses. I haven't seen his signet, but he has an air about him.
I don't trust this one bit. I really don't.
Tom, this is a test. I don't know why the church might be testing me, but they seem to be looking for something. I don't know how long she played for the game, but we can't have suspicion.
Not yet. If they try something, just watch out.
Let that be the last resort.
Let it. And Tom will come back, letting Tanari take another focus.
Tanari returned to her position and looked towards Demetrius and after little encouragement, just more so cleaning things up as far as so in what manner should we continue with transportation? Would there be a sponsor of some sorts with this incursion, or this scouting, or is it more of a reconnaissance?
Ha! Well, you could call it a reconnaissance. You will not receive particular staffing or assistance from myself or those that I represent. This would need to be a discreet matter. For the most part, the fact that we had a discussion here today would need to be hush hush.
And for that, is my transportation provided security? Would your guards here be the ones in charge of such a thing? They,
Oh, my guards, they're for my benefit. I am not traveling to this place, you are. So, it is with the resources afforded to you through the Church of Erebos that you would travel, and you would survey, and that you would write up your report, and then return post haste.
with all due respect, I am but a humble cleric of the House of Erebus. I have very little martial capabilities or really the
So,
sense of maybe
as you're gonna get interrupted by Zarius a little bit. I assure you that this duo is fully capable of anything that you will be asking from them.
Well,
He's gonna give you this look like, you understand me right now? Okay? You are capable of doing this, and you will not say otherwise.
If I may be so rude as to interrupt, Troy is a while away, and a person of your business must have other business on the way. If you need anything else taken care of, the Church of Erebos is more than happy to provide assistance.
well, there isn't any, well, let's put it this way. I have no side quests for you. I have only this main task to fulfill. And upon the receipt of a full report, there may be follow-up opportunity. The group that I represent, well, they'll want to know as much as possible about the ongoings north of Detroit. So, if you could provide such information, then it will open door to all sorts of other opportunity. One moment as I make a private roll for something. Anybody who is worth their gall will tell that his execution of those words is shaky. And he is not telling the full truth.
if there's any sort of uncomfortable matters that will come on words. All right, damn, sorry. If there's
Serious.
any matter
Spit it
of
out, woman.
if there's any sort of uncomfortable topics that would be needs to be further discussed, I assure you, to complete my task to the utmost degree, I would.
Uncomfortable? No, Dmitri is not uncomfortable. Dmitri is quite comfortable here in the silver cushion.
Ivory cushion.
Oh, I apologize. So, will you take on the task that I've set forth for you?
Tanari gives a more hesitant moment and just lays down a sigh. Dimitri, I can complete any task that has been given to me, but to do so with the utmost and thorough completion, I will need to know who I'm working for.
Well, by all intents and purposes, you're working. You are essentially working for me. I am the representative. That deception check is going to hold over, and he's clearly lying.
Yes, I will understand, but I would like to know under which house has executed this order.
Dimitri, I assume you understand that withholding the truth from us and Zarius means that you are withholding the truth from the Church of Erebos.
And secrets are things that we deal in very much seriously.
Are you suggesting I am being untruthful?
Untruthful, no. But withholding such truths in the face of Erebos, yes.
I'm going to take out the book I was reading from before.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I don't trust you, but I simply wish for my own curiosity.
And he lays down the book.
Under the oath of Erebos, please swear an oath that you are not lying or withholding truth from us this moment.
This is when he is actually starting to look down at the book and then up to you, and he puts on a smile, and you see a drop of sweat. And he is going to and it's at this precise point you're going to hear a different voice, not from Mitri, but from that one guard that was standing to the far south, the one that you had identified as undead. And they are going to speak, and they are going to say, if you're looking for someone to swear to Erebos, then I will have to take on that charge. And they are going to take their hand, take their helmet, and pull it off. And you are going to see someone of which I'm going to afford everybody a knowledge check, as it is revealed that they are wearing a circlet. They are a female individual who is quite pale, with a bit of red to their eyes, and seems to be concealing part of an outfit underneath this disguise that is a little bit of aristocratic nature. With a history 19 and history 18, it dawns to you very quickly. Now, the thing is that you might not know a ton about all of the royal houses of Siglasia, or all of the noble houses of Siglasia. However, you know that there are 9 major houses. The 9 major houses are all very particular, and it's hard to miss once you know a little bit about each house. It occurs to you, to some awe and perhaps some dread, that you are speaking to not a representative, but a member of House Greymont, specifically Rune Greymont, who is the daughter of the head of the house, Wolfram Greymont. And
Sorry,
they,
what's the name again?
her name is Rune Greymont. Now, what you know about this noble house from your 19s and 18s, there are not a lot of noble houses that you're aware of that have a vampiric history. There certainly have been abundant rumors that the members of this house are Dampier. However, you being in the presence of one and you having pulled off divine sense confirms it to some chilling effect. House Greymont has also been known to be at the center of the disappearance of a lot of, well, undesirables from the streets of Siglesia, which further alludes to the rumors that those undesirables have become, well, let's just say impressed into the house in a way. They are known for their beauty, but they're also known for their cleverness and their cruelty. But at present, there is no doubt in your mind that there's something very particular about what what Dimitri has been asking you to do. That, well, will be revealed in just a few moments as you notice that Dimitri stands hesitantly up on his feet and bows and immediately begins stepping out of the room altogether.
His job is done and he's fucking going.
Okay, bye. Have you have a good time. It was 5 star yo.
And the guards are going to step back, reposition, and they are going to put their hands together and then bow lightly as she nods and then steps behind the table, and she sits down and she puts up a hand with a little bit of flair and says, "Shall we conclude this discussion with slightly more transparency?"
Yes, thank you very much. And I would take the seat directly in front of her.
Tom will approach like about just a few steps closer so that he's closer to the book itself.
Changes nothing. End on the book, unless it would burn your skin. And swear no more half-truths.
There is no need for me to provide half-truths. Only the truths that you are warranted. And I highly doubt, while there may be a few things that may burn my skin, me writing my signature in a book won't. Before I do so, it is indeed a concern of House Greymont that there is the occurrence of a very particular mist north of Troit. As a matter of fact, it is of no doubt that this is an unnatural occurrence. Now, in the midst of this blasted civil war here in the city, I have had need to provide layers of insulation. I hope Dmitri was not too annoying for you to deal with. There was a bit of performance in his execution. But I needed to know that I was speaking with individuals who were insightful enough to tell more than his simple demeanor. Such skills will be needed. As it turns out, this mist is not of this world. There is a particular link between it and my family lineage. House Greymont was not always House Greymont. We were known as Dremontes from the eastern mountains. And some of our origins go even further back. It is to the concern of myself and my father that this mist originates from a certain place of origin, one that we have no interest in going back.
What was the name of this place of origin?
Is it part of this civil war that you speak of?
It is not having anything to do with the Civil War. The Civil War is simply a threat to, well, all families in Siglesia at the current point. And it was my desire and my father's desire that we didn't receive some sort of anarchist or opposing house presence here in this discussion. They don't need to know anything about this. Anything that is information to them is further threat to my family. I trust, as representatives of the Church of Erebos, that you will not violate such discretion. That will not do well for you or the Church as the dominant donor to your organization.
It starts to make a little bit more sense to you now why Zarius is here and they didn't send some lower tiered person to keep an eye on things.
Not that I know your business, but you should invest a bit more in hiding. Or you are, at least when you're being stealthy. Magical aura. Something simple, unless you are going easy on us.
Would I call it going easy on you? Perhaps I simply wanted to be uncovered. I needed to know and needed to get the impression across that where you are going, you cannot trust anything that you see. Where you are going, beyond the mists, there is considerable deceit and considerable tests of will. And it is imperative that the source of this unnatural occurrence be verified at best and mitigated at worst. This is an omen to my family, not a good one. Perhaps in time you'll understand why. But naturally, you will be compensated quite fairly for your endeavor. And it could gain you some renown with House Greymont. I need to know if you have any particular doubts. This is not merely an interview of me, it is an interview of you as well. I'm more than happy to sign my name on the dotted line, but I need to know that you will join.
You can consider it already finished. Tanari and I have the skills and the will. But you still didn't answer my question. Where exactly is this place beyond the mists? Do you know, or
I, well, I know by name. My father knows personally. I am unable to give you the information you seek.
If no
I can
information
only
on
give you warning that it is not a place of this world.
if no information to be given, could you at least give clarity to how severe this omen might be if such powers are not with obstacle?
If this occurrence is to be not curtailed, well, it's not the concern of myself or my family, the fate of other parts of Leonios, or the fate of other peoples. But I would not say that there isn't a risk to them, a considerable risk. I don't necessarily know the Church of Erebos to be altruistic. But if you are of the altruistic nature, it will save many to curb the source. Most notably to me, it'll save this family. Whichever the case, you only need to accept the severity of the charge and the fact that it requires the same suspicions as you have treated this conversation at all vigilance. Believe I may have reached the end of the details that I can provide. You will have to uncover this for yourself, but you will have to prepare yourself because it will not be of anything that you've seen or experienced before.
you needn't worry. Death has watchful eyes.
It'll always gather one more life.
You speak to two people who do not fear death.
But to make sure that its penance is due.
Understand that your work is in good hands.
It is a relief you do not fear death. There will be an abundance. And she is going to rise, and she is going to write her name in the book. And set down the pen. And she is going to say, Once you have unveiled everything that needs to be unveiled, and you will know when you are there. Once you have an opportunity to step out of the mists, deliver your report. And she is going to begin turning and begin heading towards the door.
As she gets up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as she was getting up to go do that, Zarius would have kind of stood up, moved over, and just kind of like moved his arm across to be like, "After you, my lady." You can say what you were gonna say, Pete. Go ahead.
As she gets up, Tom does say,
A pleasure to make your acquaintance, and hopefully the start of a good business relationship.
She looks over to you with her blooded eyes, and she says, "You may think so. We'll let time determine that." And
Now-
without as much of a goodbye, she's going to begin heading towards the door.
As she walks out, Zarius will kind of turn to both of you, kind of smile at Tom a little bit, and I'm surprised neither of you said anything sooner.
about
Better to let the shadows reveal themselves than to always uncover from the mist. Unless you know what dangers are beyond.
Besides, don't tell me you didn't like watching that Dimitri bastard sweat.
He's definitely, there's no perception check needed. He breaks like the solemnness that he's been showing this whole time and just smiles. Yes, well. Either way, if you complete this, even if you don't get exactly what it is that you want from them, I promise you, you will not regret what the church will be able to do for you. There's a great deal of money that comes out of that house. Making them happy is of the utmost importance. The church will take care of you if you take care of the church.
So, one thing in particular that you will see as she passes, Dimitri literally grovels on the ground, and you get an extremely subservient vibe, like a Renfield sort of vibe as she passes, and as the guards begin to leave, one of them takes a rat out of its like pocket or small pouch and tosses Dimitri the rat, and Dimitri begins to devour the rat, like right in front of everybody. And as they proceed, Dimitri is going to follow suit.
Definitely
And
has
he is
stepped on the
much more hunched and much more, animated.
all the way step on the energy. Got it.
Zarius will leave, and with that, I will do something that I will not do for any other portion of this campaign. I'm going to fast forward you ever so slightly. Unless you guys have specific things that you want to cover before we walk out.
I get up from the long table. I walk up to Tom, and when everyone else leaves, I slap him on the side of his arm. Don't you dare scare me like that again! You would tell the great Grandma what they would do to us again.
That was bizarre.
Oh,
As
Would you like to count to 10 or?
I definitely need a stronger drink after that. Kenny, I need the best rum here.
As Kenny actually walks back out, he's gonna go, "Wow, that's got intense." As no one
Yes.
proceeded the entire time to see what Kenny was doing,
Kind of occupied.
I fully understand why. I fully understand why. I was prepared for both
I
options.
can't just leave a lady out and over here.
But you will proceed. I'm guessing at this point, Kenny will give you all the tools that you will need: food, uh, rum, rations, whatever it may be. He will provide to you as well. You kind of own half
I
this inn.
I take all the simple necessities that I need. I gather uh any tools that I need. My holy symbol of Erebos, a more of a simple and like a simple like a symbol that would just go to the waist similar to Tom, and simple leathers and such. Large coat, all the essentials once again, and uh the only weapon she'll ever the only other weapon she'll ever use besides that rusty mace that she barely picks up, but the crossbow, nice slick with oil, and at least this part is well taken care of.
I will ask you.
Tom had
I was gonna
good.
say I will ask you both at this point. You guys are taking your normal things and whatnot. For either one of you, is there any specific personal item that is not on the normal D&D list that you would like to take? Anything that would be significant to your character particularly?
Hmm. Tom takes all his standard stuff: his armor, his cloak, a few hand-rolled cigarettes, more rum, um, his sword, oil, whetstone, the standard stuff. Though, from his room in the inn, he does take what would be an old ring that Taza gave him years and years ago that he still holds some significance in. Should have thrown it away, but a slight. He simply can't let go. He simply can't. And takes it with him on this journey.
Very well done. You could go ahead and add that to your inventory. Now, Tanari, is there anything that you would like to take?
There's a small note that she always keeps close to her chest, almost like a keepsake. It seems worn somehow throughout all the time that she's had it. She's always kept it in some well condition. She doesn't open it, but she does take a moment to look in it.
Feel,
Reminiscing on the memory that it holds, she puts it in and walks out the room.
feel free to go ahead and put that in your inventory as well. Personal items may or may not play a part in the further progressing story. As I said originally, I will do something that I will not do during the main campaign, but obviously this is in the past, not necessarily the future, right? It's the entire purpose of the backstory campaign. So with that, I will move you guys actually forward to actually traveling ever so much. Now, while I don't necessarily have maps for everything, I do like to try to go ahead and set up at least a little bit of ambiance for you, so that if you would like to have discussions or be able to make rolls as you are moving along, right? I don't feel that it's necessary for you to actually have to move a token back and forth, right?
Mm.
while you guys are traveling, is there any particular thing that you guys may discuss now that no one's around? Anything that you want to talk about? Anything that you want to be able to find? Or anything of the sort? It's 100% up to you. I'm just giving you time. That's all.
Knowing about the type of people that Lady Greymon has been describing, Tanari will go look for stuff that will repel the people with the vampiric nature.
Roll me a nature check.
As
12. You may... This is where that meta versus realistically what you would have, right? I'm going to say just for the time being, given that it does play significant roles into things, and I'm fairly certain that we were all kind of knowing this specifically going in. I'm going to say 12. You may grab a few things, but you don't know exactly what will be the most effective. I was not aware that music was going to
We're being haunted. There's a banshee on
where the hell did that actually come from? All right, we're going to turn that off for the time being.
I didn't think we were going to die at level 1.
Yeah, everybody's here's all. He knew what you were going for. So I'm going to say, for the time being, with a 12, you try to look into it a little bit, but you don't find anything very particular, as it were. Now, that may change as the campaign goes forward. I'm not saying you'll never be able to have it or never be able to find it. But I didn't make you... I was going to say, I didn't make you roll a disadvantage specifically because there was a mention previously.
Knowing that there might be something vampiric, and since we are people who are tasked with, paladins especially, tasked with taking down undead, would I be able to find nearby, like trees, foliage, that kind of thing, and just using the basic components that I have, fashion them into makeshift stakes?
That's kind of going for the same nature roll. I will give you a nature roll as well. Maybe you can actually tell her that this will actually... that you know, right? I'm going to set the DC only at a 15.
I would ask, would I be able to make an athletics check for the chopping down specifically, for the hard manual labor that it is?
I will give it to you if the nature check is more for what kills vampires, what is going to be actually effective against these entities, right? So it's more or less, if you want, I know I said nature, Tanari, I will give you another opportunity if you would so like. You could also use knowledge check as well.
And seeing as Tom is going to start going for wood, I'll kind of look towards my belongings and say, if simple wood is something you need, I do have a couple.
You have some stakes on you?
Whatsoever, and let's just call it a formality and just kind of grab like 3 of them and takes them out.
Good to know. Nah, I'm not really sure entirely that these are useful, but heard it entails.
I'll make a nature check in that case instead of the actual getting the stakes.
Yeah, it's more or less just about what is effective, not necessarily. To be honest with you, I think anybody in here could probably fashion a stake fairly quickly, fairly easily. So it's not necessarily a check. It's just something you could probably do very quickly. It's more or less that knowledge that that stake is going to be worthwhile to make.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's more or less what I'm looking for. That's what I'm saying. If you guys would like to use knowledge checks as opposed to the nature checks, I will allow you to roll for that as well, if you would.
Rolled an 8, so
Probably not so much.
mm-hmm.
Probably not
Unfortunate.
so much. Now, go ahead.
Not pretty much nothing really.
Now, as you guys are traveling, you notice that as you move farther east, there you do start to notice the mist kind of off in the distance ever so slightly, obscuring some of your vision. I would ask for a perception check from both of you, please. '20 is definitely going to do it. In fact, a 14 would have done it as well. Both of you notice that it's getting harder and harder to see what's around every bend as it starts to get a little thicker, a little thicker, a little thicker. And then you kind of notice that, well, there's a hill that seems not to be covered by said mist. It seems that the mist itself has kind of settled down like a fog into the valley. And, well, you've been traveling for quite a while. It may behoove you to go somewhere where you can have better sight, maybe a little bit more defensible. As it comes down, maybe the hill would be a fairly good choice. What would you guys like to do? Would you guys like to take that, or what would you guys actually like to do?
So the hill is like from what we see, it's like the most advantage point from like this mist,
I would
or this
say
mist trying to fog.
I would say vantage point, and it's also not being enveloped either. Like it's almost above. It's been risen out. Kind of like if nature-wise, kind of like if you've ever like really seen a true mountain, right? And when it's really foggy around the base, but then like over the top, it's broken out, and like you can see the top of the mountain clear as day.
Mm-hmm.
While we walk, I put one hand up to Tanari.
Let me go a bit deeper in for a second and see something.
I'm going to go into a slightly thicker part of the fog, and I'm going to use Divine Sense. Is this fog desecrated?
There is definitely something wrong. I'm not going to say that it's necessarily desecrated, but being a paladin, I figure you probably used your senses a few times and probably fairly well. You've stepped into the mist and you're using it, and it's almost there is a darkness to it. I wouldn't call it desecration, but there's a darkness to it. Something as your I don't want to call it your we'll call it your senses. As your senses reach out, it almost recoils from it. Not staying anywhere very long. And as you try to reach out a little bit further, maybe, to try to really get a good sense of this, you feel a wrongness until it pulls away again. Almost like it doesn't necessarily want to be seen. Not by you.
This seems very unique among senses. Having been trained under a church, could I make a religion check to see if this is a natural occurrence with these like unnatural things, or is this very unique?
This is very unique. This is very unnatural. This is not something I won't even make you roll that. It is very, very unnatural.
I walk quicker this time back to Tanari and the usher to the top of the hill.
As
Tom, what is it?
This mist. There is something very wrong with this mist.
As Tom is saying that to you, Tanari, give me a perception check. You do not catch it.
What, what, what is the mist? This is the mist we're talking about.
This must be. Have you ever been watched by something you've never seen before?
Number of times, but in what manner?
The entire mist is like that. It's viewing us.
Then we should
don't
step
know.
away.
Sorry, say that again?
Then we should step away. This is the mist dangerous.
Well, it does confirm one thing that they were worrying about. It is supernatural, at least. Alright, now let's go.
And I'm gonna like hurry her up to the top of the hill.
It just in the confused panic, Tanari kind of just chases him.
Both of you give me a perception check as you're kind of moving as quickly as you can.
Ooh.
Nat 20. Nat telling me is definitely going to go ahead and do it. In fact, I'll give you a little bit more. As you're running, Tom, you turn around to see where Tanari is. It seems that the mist that you had before and your divine sense is still up. Well, we'll go ahead and with that nat 20, we'll say that they're still up. You feel things kind of start to recoil from you and back, but as you start to move forward and almost run from the mist, you feel it start to encroach on you. Almost every time your back is turned, it seems that what is behind you, something is reaching out, almost like it is reaching out to grab a hold of you, Tom. Now, it never quite gets close enough, but you turn back around, and Tanari, on the other hand, seems to getting more and more difficult to see her as the fog seems to be trying to envelop around her.
I like offer out my hand for a second before just taking her hand, and
We need to keep moving faster.
Reach out forward and grab it. Hurry!
You guys are able to actually make it up top. If you give me one quick second here. Given a little bit of time, giving the feel that you are out of danger, and the fact that the sun has started to set, you find it best that maybe we go ahead and camp out on top of this hill here as well. Everything else seems to be enveloped, and, well, no one wants to be in a fog that they can barely see through during the day. You really don't want to be in there at night. That's just kind of a basic thing, right? But as you kind of look, you notice something that you've never heard anything about. Now, given what you had said earlier, Tanari, where you have not necessarily traveled out this far, I'm going to actually ask that disadvantage for you. Now, we did not go in for you, Tom. Tom, have you traveled this far out? Have you had any reason to?
this far east.
This far east, yes.
I would say that Tom has been around south, and he would have probably been far north enough to be whatever the name of that there's a city of monsters near the top of Leonios. Around there, he's had a very vertical travel across the whole of Leonios, but he's never gone to the west or the east that far.
Never having gone east. I will ask for a disadvantage from both of you, given that you have never been over in this direction. Give me a history check. As you kind of notice, coming out of these mists are two broken statues.
Oh, a natural 20.
Pain.
Yeah, sorry about that, gentlemen. You do not recognize what these are. Now, just given your passive sight, you can notice that, each has wings. One having at least the upper torso of a male figure. The other having a almost feminine structure, but whereas the male has the full torso without any legs, the female has the legs and very a small portion of her torso, but no arms or head. It's a little off-putting. You've never heard of statues. Granted, these things are probably fairly old. You've never necessarily heard of statues having these specific markings or know anything about them.
Do the marks of wear on them look as though they have been there from, the test of time and erosion, or
They are very, very
from...
old.
Okay.
Yes,
This
they
isn't
are.
something that recently happened.
No,
Okay.
not by a long shot.
Tanari, you ever been out this far east?
No, never.
Zarius knows I've never been this far east. They must have known you weren't either. Do you not find it odd? You took two people who know nothing about the area, go out and search into this fog.
I'll be honest, Hunt. It was already suspicious from the beginning, but they come to me. I don't
I find
understand.
it's suspicious on the end of the grey moths, but I expect better from our own people.
Looking for this mist or something that's connected to the Grey Moths. Why didn't you send Zarius? Why me? I'm only a simple devotee. My service has been small to compare to anyone else. I don't generate that much money to the church. I just do what I can.
Look me in the eyes.
And I take down the hood, and you see him for the first time in a while with the hood off, sort of wildish black hair, a bit of lean scruff, and the mostly human, though vaguely orc form. Something that belies the very rough-hewn appearance that he has is the very, very almost pretty, almost very youthful blue eyes that he has.
You need to stop selling yourself down. I know that this is a suspicious scenario, but one day you're going to surpass people like him and his cleric. We are made for greatness, you and I. That's what Taz told you and I. Now, I don't know that much, but I knew not to doubt Taz. Maybe it's suspicious. Maybe it's something more than we were told. So what? We get out of here alive. We keep going. We keep getting stronger. We show 'em what's what.
Fine. But stay close.
I will. Don't worry. Want me to protect you. Don't you forget that.
You do hear, as you guys are having this conversation, you guys would know a wolf's howl from anywhere, but it seems that this particular howl goes on for an abnormally long time.
Would either of us recognize this as just a wolf's howl or something else?
And also, what direction is it coming from?
It is coming from towards the mist. Basically, where you guys are standing, almost like it's in the deepest part. Now, it definitely sounds like a wolf. I would say that neither one of you have experienced particularly what this may or may not be, but it definitely sounds like a wolf. But a wolf's howl is very quick, it crescendos, it ends, and it's done. This one just kind of carried on for a few seconds. It's a little odd, but, well, nature's a little odd sometimes.
Could I roll a nature check?
Go for it.
I'll join him.
With the 17 and 18, not knowing exactly what it would be, you're kind of brought to the same thing. Now, no natural wolf would ever sound like that. With that 17 and 18, I will give you that piece. It would never sound like that. They're almost incapable of sounding like that, or should
What
be.
time is it currently?
The sun has gone down, and it's getting to the point where if you want to be able to see anything, you will have to light that campfire.
I'll light the campfire and I'll turn to Tanari.
And you can go to sleep for tonight. But I'll be on watch. I can do a little sleep, and someone's got to keep an eye out.
We can take shifts. And we just set things up. That,
With
how like close is the fog? Is fog like enveloped the mountain now?
So from where you're at, you kind of notice that maybe if you move towards the south, or basically towards from where this camera viewpoint is, if you move back in this direction, you should be able to kind of walk it back into Leonios, right? But as you're looking at this fog, it doesn't necessarily seem like it's moving all that much. It's kind of placated right where it's at. It's in this valley, and from where you're at, it's a pretty good vantage point. Now, there's obviously some things that you won't be able to see, right? As portions of this mist are just too thick. But it doesn't seem like it's entrapping you.
Sitting down on a stump or log or whatever, Tom takes out the ring, kind of fiddles with it in his hand, and looks to Tanari.
I've been having this feeling lately. I don't know what's possessed me, but for the past couple of days, something's changed. And getting this mission, that mist and that, something grabbing out there. I'm beginning to fear it. And I shouldn't, but I am. And I'm starting to fear death. I felt it when I was with that Greymon. I felt it with that mist and that owl. I could feel it. Them wolves coming for us. Taking us away from this world. I don't know what's possessed me, I really don't.
Listening to the wolves howl took Tanari off the sight of Tom for a moment, and Gazer turns back. Usually that fear holds more. To be honest and say I sort of feel the same after what has happened.
I just... Before she died, before Daz died, she asked me, take care of you, make something of myself. And I haven't done that yet.
There's
We haven't
no
done that
need.
yet.
Since he's gone, I've just stayed upon that inn.
Say
Never
that
left.
again, sorry?
Ever since she's gone, I've never left the inn. I was stuck in my room for months, barely eating. All those vows and those hymns that we sing back at the church, they meant nothing when she's gone. We lost out of it all.
Alright. I was a bit similar. I can't remember the last time I felt like this. I don't know what this mist is doing to me. After this, we take on bigger jobs. We make something of ourselves.
And standing up, kind of getting closer.
We gotta live. Alright?
What about the church? What about our duties? You're a paladin, and I'm just a simple cleric here. I still have the inn. There's Kenny. Kenny still might need my help.
Kenny's a lowlife. You and I both know it. Come on now. That inn's gonna shut down in a few years. Gets no one. We gotta focus on what's important. We gotta make a name for ourselves. We gotta live to serve Erebos, don't we? That's a bit of a fucking paradox if I think about it.
As you guys are... Go ahead. Sorry.
We have to live. Not just for ourselves. But for her, alright. She's done more for me than you'll ever know.
As you guys are having this conversation, give me a perception check. Tanari, you notice at first, you guys had stayed here for a few hours now, and that mist never moved. But at first, you were sitting next to the fire. You thought, okay, some smoke's getting in my eyes. It's getting a little smoky over here. Got to move. The smoke seems to almost move with you. And then you start looking around. It's not smoke. It almost seems like the fog has decided to move to your location. You go to look around, you try to peer through. You don't even see the exit to your south any longer. Now you can still see fairly well with this campfire light. But as it gets darker, you're having a tougher and tougher time denoting which way is which.
Tom is going to place a log in the direction of. You said it was around west to where we would be able to go home.
Yeah. Originally, west would have been the way home. From where you're at, and kind of, you guys are kind of like standing almost over a cliff, almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know that you would have to almost walk towards the camera from where we're sitting right now.
Mm-hmm. He takes the log and marks it with his probably doesn't even need to mark it, just places it down firmly on the ground and is an obvious landmark in a sense to know this is west. This is where we have to go. Looks to Tanari.
Look, we got everything we needed to know. Right? Mists are bad. It's enveloping everywhere. It's got a mind of its own. That's all we need to know. We got the statues and everything to know about. I say we just go back now. Not much else to tell.
It's not much else. Everything that Dimitri fellow gave me was just a ruse. If this mist does have some presence one day, we have to at least find more confirmation of it. We can't come back empty-handed.
Look, the paladin's sense is enough. It's objective. We could just go back now with our hits, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll find some other way. We'll be all right. But it's better we just go now before something else really bad happens.
This fog is... This mist is starting to grow. Would it be safe to travel back in it when it's still this thick?
Where else are we gonna go? Higher?
We can't point higher, but... We don't know what's out here in this. We don't know what hides under it. We can't move now.
We have nothing. We've no choice. We either get back to civilization, or we stay here. Whatever's in that mist comes for us. We've got nowhere to run.
I just takes a deep breath. Looks for Tom and gives him a nod. Fine.
As you take that deep breath, much like fog is, it's wet, it's thick, it's like breathing through a wet sheet almost. It's difficult, and as you go to exhale, you start to hear a whisper.
Ye enter my area, you be judged.
Immediately draws the sword.
I cock an arrow in my crossbow.
Who's there? Show yourself, you coward.
You hear nothing.
Well, you want to stay after that?
Get the hell out of here.
The longer you
Quick,
stay
put out the
there,
fire.
the longer you stay there, the more voices you hear.
Judge, judged, yes, yes, judge, 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 judged. Oh, judged. Oh, this one could be interesting. This one sees more than others. This one understands. Yes, we could have much fun with this one. Yes, 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 yes. Together.
We're going.
I start to kick dirt to the fire to, like, put it out.
Very well. Tom, what are you doing, my friend?
Looking around, I'm going to use my Divine Sense one last time.
You feel, as soon as you do your divine sense, that wrongness that had been recoiling around you has stopped recoiling, And while it is in fact swirling around Tanari, it has completely surrounded you, Tom.
Weakness.
Stand back.
No fun with weakness. None. None. No. No, this one would not be fun. This one would not be fun. Ah, we could have so much fun with the other. Oh, fun, yes, fun.
You call me weak? Weak?
And I take a few steps back from Tanari and slash out a few times at the air.
You call me weak? I'm a chosen of Erebos. You will not call me weak.
Tom?
The last thing that you hear, Tom.
You call yourself one of Erebos? You call yourself a fighter? Yet fear death. Yes, we heard.
And about that period of time, the fog begins to force its way into your lungs, through your mouth, through your ears, through your nose, through your eyes. You feel the pressure start to build into you, and then you start to feel the heat surrounding you. That fire that you're trying to put out, it's not going out. It's not a choice anymore. It's burning, it's moving. Your skin starts to boil. Oh, Tom, it hurts so badly.
Oh!
And he collapses to his knees, hands to his face, the hood down, as he just starts writhing. You see almost like... You ever watched The Mummy? Do you remember that scene with the scarabs?
Oh, no.
Like that, but with air, with pockets of air in his veins. You see it bubbling through the leather, bubbling through under his skin to his hands. You see it almost redden his nails to go purple and dull before he extends a small hand out.
Please. Just let me hold your hand, please.
I run immediately to Tom.
I'm moving you to your next map.
I kneel down to him and start to hold him.
If you start to hold his hand, you would feel a soft squelch as looking at your own and looking at his, you would see that his retinas have completely melted and his eyes are now melting into the palm of his hands. He looks up at you, the hood down, but as it is encapsulated by the campfire and the light, his skin is slowly peeling and sloughing off his face like a roast on bone that's been left there for hours. It's less burnt and more cooked, steam roasted by the mists around him. And his breathing is rattling, like you're shaking a spray paint can. It's completely empty.
No, please. What did I do? What did I do to deserve this?
Tanari? Tanari? Tanari, listen to me. I can help you save him, but you must be the conduit.
Give me a perception check.
And
Easy enough,
My
but that
eyes are
22. You look around, and at first, you're not quite sure where it came from, but as it keeps talking to you, you will notice in the fog a figure and instantly recognize her.
I just look aghast. What's it?
Tanari. Tanari, listen. I can't explain it, but there's some special power here. His body can be broken, but his soul cannot. I know a way for him to stay with you.
Tell us what we where are we? Where are what is happening?
So much pain for one soul to bear, my sweet Tanari. First you lost me to the damned death curse, and now you stand to lose your only true friend. I won't stand for it. Tom is my friend and yours, and I will summon all my power here and now to help you save him. Tanari, I love you, and together we can save him. But if we're going to accomplish this, you must be the conduit. Do you understand?
Recognizing that strong, resolute voice, no matter how much of a whisper it was, Tanari just shakes off the tears in her eyes. And what do I do?
There you are. I told you once you were made for greatness. You were made to accomplish what others cannot. What you need to do, now, clasp your hands together as patient Erebos grasps the souls of the underworld.
Following her instruction, I assume the position of a meditative stance.
Hold them to your heart. For
Following the
one
instruction.
sweet, fleeting moment, she feels the warmth of Taz's hands around hers, exactly as it felt all those years ago when they were young and full of life. Now remember me, and think of Tom.
Nari closes her eyes, relishing no matter how absent this embrace might be, it still fills her with warmth. But in the mind, she keeps the vision of Tom.
As you do, your eyes darting to wherever, but eventually the condition Tom is in still enters your gaze. You see that the melting process has now gotten further and further. You see teeth melting down from his face to his chin, to his chest. You see the cloth that would have hid him once now fusing to his own skin, and barely audible from red, cracked lips that can barely hold air.
Please save me.
As that last gasp goes, just for a minute, with the amount of fog that is coming from him out of his mouth, where his eyes used to be, where the nose should have been, you almost see. At first, you think it's a mist, that it may be more the fog. But then it shifts and it moves. And it moves straight to you. And it proceeds to enter in right through your face, much like it did his. Roll me a Constitution check, please. Constitution save.
Save. Fuck!
With that, too.
Whoa.
You can't breathe. It's almost too much. It's not pushing the pressure. It's just not letting any other air in. Your vision starts to darken. It's just, oh, it's almost too much to bear. You collapse down to your knees, still having tried to hold on to Tom's hands. Except as you do, what used to be his bloated flesh is the only thing left in your hand, as Tom will collapse on the other side. You're just holding meat at this point.
You would hear as he collapses, almost like an accordion being shut, air and liquid still inside of his esophagus raining out as he hits the floor.
And I just watch in horror.
I would note as well that his melted eyes, but as well the ring, Tass's ring, still in his right hand.
As your darkened still continues to blur, you hear those whispers and those voices again. Two could be better than one. Yes, I think he will have much fun with two. Oh, two conjoined into one would be a lot of fun. Oh, think of all the things they could do. Yes, think of all the things that they could do. Think of what they could become. Yes, yes, we will allow it. Yes, this could be fun. And as you do, you hear a voice in the back of your mind. Very familiar. No longer rasping for air. Tom, what do you say now that you can't see or hear or anything out of the back of Tanari's mind?
Is this it? Have I cheated death?
Can I feel? How does this feel? Is it nothing or is it less than that?
There's no sense of anything. There's a consciousness, but there's no sight, there's no sound, there's no anything, there's no feel, there's no pain any longer. There's no anything.
Dan, can you hear me?
Tanari, you hear this clear as day.
And I cannot find the source of it.
It's not coming from anywhere. It's almost like that high-pitched ringing sound that goes into your ear. It doesn't necessarily come from anywhere and everywhere all at the same time.
Tom, where are you?
Tom, you can't hear that.
I can't hear this.
You can
Or
hear
I
that.
can.
It would seem, Tanari, I'm in a better place.
Can I can't, like you said before, I can't see anything.
At that moment, no. However, Tanari, your vision starts to come back. You were dizzy. Your vision had darkened. Fortunately for you, any pain has passed. And as you open your eyes to look around, Tom, you're looking at what used to be your body.
Oh, my God.
What is it? Where are you? Just
Wait a
panicking,
minute.
looking around.
Look at your hands.
I slowly look down, close my hands, still shaking.
And I see hands that are not my own.
Yes, you do.
It seems whatever you were doing, it worked. I could barely hear it, much less see it. But whatever you did worked. I'm alive. I'm alive.
As he's saying this, your long hair proceeds to fall to the side, falls down, except you notice it's no longer auburn. Animus, describe what you now look like as something else lives in your body as well. As you move from human to Kalishtar.
Now, with the current events that have unfolded, Tanari's hair looks as if it came from mist itself. Stark white, along with any other hair that she might have held. Her eyes, which were once just a modest green with a hint of darkness, now become vibrant, as if glowing torchlight.
You know what we've done here, haven't we?
I saw Taza. I saw Taza, Tom. I kind of look around for Taza. Is she still here?
She is, in fact. You can see her token. Sammy, are you still around, perchance?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I just gaze upon her.
For the first real time, both of you are able to see Taza.
Ask her if she saved me. If what she did saved me.
At this point, tears are starting to form down Taza's face, Tanari's face. Just seeing the gaze of Taza. Taza, what is it that I've done? What is this ritual? Where is Tom?
I told you he would stay with you. And so, he will stay with you.
What does that mean?
What do you do, Tanari?
I stand and slowly walk towards her. With each step, it's hesitant. It's almost as if she's looking at a mirage. As if the closer she gets to it, that horrible truth that's like in the back of her head saying that she might not be there. But remembering she closes the distance. And just slowly reaches out and tries to touch her.
As your hand reaches out, much like the mist, it swirls around, but never make contact.
With that revelation, the tears begin to just flow a little more freely.
Tanari, I can't stay here. I have to go.
I don't know what to do. I can't.
You will.
Don't.
You will know the right thing. I meant it when I said you were made for greatness. Only you can accomplish what is most important. If only you could have saved me. But you failed.
And with that, welcome to Cursed Dread, Animus.
Fucking no.
It gets a little darker here than it does in the rest of PA, I think.
Damien, those words cut deep.
I'm sorry, buddy. I love you so much. I'm sorry.
I gotta go over here.
I'm not.
up,
I sent you
fire
into
lady.
this mess.
I will be swayed by your looks again.
Legitimately,
Oh,
I'm
that
over here.
character.
I'm like, the last words have to be this. If only you could have saved me. But you failed.
You're horrible. You're all horrible people.
So I'm just eating this Mexican pizza on my own now.
Oh, sweetie.
The
This
only
is
person
your-
who can guide him now is the
the
voice
Mexican-
in his head.
And the Mexican pizza.
That
It
more
guides my
importantly.
stomach.
I appreciate you guys hanging out with me.
Great
I
stuff.
I definitely 100% want to give a massive shout out to you, Ryder. That was absolutely amazing. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. I was trying to stay out of your way and just kind of let you be the DM for it, so that's why I wasn't like, make this roll, make that. I was like, I'm gonna let him do his thing.
Oh,
great, man. Let's go.
I wanted to waste as much of Animus's time as possible with that first
You
part.
ever been like the waiter just taking order, just like this is such bullshit? You do not need 14 different sliders. You don't need each sample. Like,
But in between each item that they order, they talk about nothing but bullshit, and you know that they know that they're just keeping you there. But as soon as you're about to be like, okay, well, I'll come back later, they're like, oh yeah, and then the chicken slider too. And Michelle, didn't you have a chicken slider the other day? Oh, I know, wasn't that funny? Haha.
yes,
But wait, one more
the
thing.
chicken sliders.
Oh, I forgot to say, a gold ring set with bloodstones, a carved ebony
Hang on, hang on.
statuette, not ivory this time.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Let me switch the page.
You know, he was over here writing all that in his book and be like, I wonder
I
where the
literally-
hell
I
all these
literally wrote
random
it
items
down.
are coming from.
I literally wrote it down. And then by the time
Is there
it
a
was like,
puzzle? Is there some sort of contraption? Some sort
literally,
of code?
I wrote it down, and then by the time I got to like, okay, he's putting out the act, and then I just wrote in like a big ass arrow pointing to this bullshit. I was like, well, that completes your order. Here's don't forget your tip your waiters. I will see you never.
I like knowing what was going on. I'm sitting back here going, is he waiting for me to like have him roll something like, or is he just letting it happen? Like I'm just like, we never really discussed that I was just gonna let you do your thing and stay out of your way.
Listen. I didn't know when my capabilities start to kick in, but looking at the other person with the ring, I was like, my only other
It's a
action
thing.
was like, I blast.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
I was like listening to that, and I'm like, why the fuck is he listing this shit off, asshole?
So I also want to give a shout out over here to Pete. Pete, I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you for coming in, becoming the.
Pete.
You sold that. You made that more chilling than it would have been without you.
Bro, I feel help. It was like, bro, I don't know what to do. You're melting. You're like ice cream on
Literally
the sidewalk.
melting.
I don't know what to do.
Just kept
Literally
going,
melting.
just kept melting and cooking, and then I was like, okay, he's done. And then his eyeballs, and I was like, what the fuck, Pete?
Yeah,
Like, bro,
Holy shit.
so
Your milk chocolate on the ground, bro. It was like, what do I do?
I'm
You
glad.
reached the melting cheese state, and now you're like the fried crispy cheese state.
You're no longer
I'm
fondue.
glad that he actually gave that. I almost cut out the Indiana Jones video where the guy takes the
The
cup.
Ark of the Covenant.
When he sees the
where he
ark.
takes the cup and tries to take that drink and just melts. I almost put that in. I was like, nah, that's too much copyright. I can't do that. They're not gonna allow that. I'm so happy that I didn't know Pete was gonna describe it, but I'm so happy that he did. I'm so happy he did. I appreciate it.
I'm
That was
not,
amazing.
I'm that guy from the end of RoboCop 1.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then of
Hit me
course,
too hard and I
Ooh,
splatter.
the one where they go to Mars. What is that one called? And they get okay, old school movie
Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Total Recall.
The,
Yeah.
When
the
they were
original
in
Total Recall. The scenes where they they're exposed to the actual atmosphere of Mars, and you
And just your face is like, ah.
I was told by Dread, hey, make it bad.
Play this
You
up.
did, man.
Play
You did.
this up.
Man, I thought you had some rashes or something. Dude.
So I do appreciate it, everybody, and of course, big shout out to Sammy, not only for coming in here and providing the voice of Taza and completely crushing Tanari's spirit at the end there. Fantastic.
My wife.
Fantastic.
why
But
I married
also, Sammy, thank you on stream in front of everybody. Thank you for dealing with my shit, trying to figure this stuff out. Right? Thank you for being my sounding board. I appreciate it.
I'm learning a lot. I'm happy to do it.
I do appreciate it. So, with that, I think I don't have a whole lot of people that are currently streaming. I think right now, unless you guys have somebody specifically that you would like, I believe Perception Studios may be our raid here.
Let's go.
Let me go ahead
Time
and
to
put that
raid.
in. We will be raiding. I do appreciate it, everybody, and have yourselves a good night.
Gather your weapons, prepare your spells. We are about to go into the great beyond.
Don't forget your sanity. You need 2 of those.
Don't die.
Bye, everybody.